I'm trying to be cleaner, but the devil keep dancing around my arena, trying to give me the leaner, trying to come in between us. But he is not Ike and I'm not Tina. See, I won't leave the cake cause I don't want the lake, I don't play with gasolina. I'm getting no sin and he wrote the end from the beginning and that's why I'm winning. The devil got me spinning, trying to phone me like I'm Lennon, but I ain't not winning. The world keep on trying to seep in, the devil throw me in the deep end. I got Jesus, I ain't never sinking, I'm swimming, yeah.
Yeah, welcome to Rightly Divine the Word. And now that we know that He gets us, now what? Now that we know that He gets us, now what? So many of you noticed that there was a Super Bowl commercial with the He Gets Us campaign, and many dissenters have come out speaking against this. So I asked the question, is there a problem that He gets us? Or maybe I think many of you don't want him to get you or don't want him to get us. But I'm going to start this lesson and we're going to go through Luke 5, 1 through 10. But I'm going to start in verse 4 because this is when Simon Peter was at Gennesaret and Jesus met him there and they were on ships. And Jesus is now speaking to Simon Peter, and he said, and this is in verse 4, now when he left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a drought. So when I think of the He Gets Us campaign, I see this as a net being cast out, a net being cast out. And some of you might say, well, that's a problem. Why do you say that? Well, since, this is a popular YouTuber here and his thing is here's the truth. Well, let's deal with the truth of this. Why I do think this is a net being cast out. So we're going to go to Luke 5 and we're going to go with verse 2 now. So we're going to go a little backwards. And he said, and two ships standing by the lake, but the fishermen were gone out of them and were washing their nets. So I think many of you with this He Gets Us campaign, you all are washing out your nets. You're trying to pick the fish out of the nets before you actually get fish in the nets. You're trying to clean the net of fish before you get fish. Make that make sense, okay? So why do I believe this? So you have this popular YouTuber and her statement is, what are you thinking? Or what are they thinking? And I think this is what Simon Peter and his people were also thinking. What are you thinking, Jesus? And why do I know this? We're going to go to the first part of Luke 5, verse 5. And it says, and Simon answering and said unto him, Master. So he said, Jesus, Master, look, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing. And so this basically saying, Jesus said, cast your net. He said, but we've been at this all night and we got nothing. And so, like this popular YouTuber, she's complaining about where the net has been casted at, at the alphabet soup. Why are you throwing your net in the alphabet soup? Complaining about where to throw the net, complaining about, I'm tired. But that's what this one is, complaining about where you throwing the net at the alphabet soup. And then we're going to go to this popular YouTuber, and his title is, This is a Trap. This Super Bowl ad is so deceptive about Jesus. And once again, a net is being cast, but we're complaining about, where the net is being cast at because, we might not like what is being caught in the net or what they're seemingly going after. So are you like this? Are you saying, Master, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing, just complaining, and all he said was just cast the net? And then we have this YouTuber, he's a popular one also. He said, Jesus wouldn't have done this. Jesus wouldn't have done this. And I say, oh, really? He wouldn't? Or is a better question is, you wouldn't have done this because you wouldn't have casted your net at people that look like this, or maybe people that look like this. You're right. You wouldn't have casted your net because you don't like those waters. But to say that Jesus would not have cast his net here, I don't think so. So we have another one who's saying, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing. And then we have another popular YouTuber and says, he just go out and said it. He doesn't get us. So Jesus doesn't get us. And I asked the question again, why? It's because, you don't like the people that the net has been casted to. Once again, you don't like the waters. Where's that? You know, you want to go cast your net somewhere else, or you think the net would be better casted here. But Jesus said, we're going out to the deep where you don't want to go, and you're going to cast your net here. So here's another one that said, well, we have toiled all night and have taken nothing, just complaining. And so this popular YouTuber, on he gets us as said, they're doing too much. My question is, are you doing enough? Because it's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. And what do I mean by that? So the second part of Luke 5:5, and this is what Simon Peter said, nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. So here, Simon said, I'm just going to follow your command, Jesus. I'm just going to let down the net. I'm going to do the work that you asked me to do. So is it really that they're doing too much, or you not ready to work? Which one is it? They doing too much, or you not doing enough? Are you up for the task? Are you up for the task of this job? Because you don't like the waters, because you don't want to go to this part of the sea. You don't like where the net is being casted at, because you know better than Jesus where to cast this net. But I'm going to go for it because, like I said, now it's time to go to work. And so in Luke 5, verse 6, it says, and when they had done this, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. See, when they just went to work and did what Jesus said and just cast that net, Jesus filled the nets with the fish. He filled the net with the fish. He didn't care where he casted it at. He didn't care what the catch looked like the night before, the day before. He said, we're going to cast him and I'm going to bring the fish. So this is the abundance, or this is Jesus doing the work here, that he's going to bring them in. Our job now is to reel them in. And so, still staying with Luke 5, we're going to go to the first part of 7, verse 7. And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they would come and help them. And see, now that I know that they cast the net and it's going to be too many, it's going to be an overflow of fish. It's now time for me to help. And so instead of me complaining about where the net was cast, I don't like you all, or that was your net, it's overflowing, I'm not going to help you because I ain't going to get nothing out of it. That's what, many of y'all are doing here. But once again, it's time for us. So now that they cast the net, it's time for us to help bring them home. Time for us to help bring those fish home. It's time for us to help reel the fish in. All right? Because the He Gets Us campaign is an incomplete campaign. But we can close it. We can better explain, some of y'all think. We can complete the message. We can explain who Jesus is and what he is and what he means to us. But we too busy complaining about where the net was cast. We complain about, well, we didn't get nothing over there the first time or the second time or the third time, or why even bother? Too busy cleaning out the fish from the net before you get fish in the net. So the second part of Luke 5 says, and they came, filled both the ships so that they began to sink. So I think many of y'all are concerned or worried about that. If you do help, you're going to sink because people are going to say, why are you worried about the alphabet mafia? Why are you targeting unbelievers? Why are you targeting this group? Why are you targeting this group? But when I read in the earlier verses, Jesus said, just cast the net. So it's not my job to worry about where the net is cast. And it's not my job to worry about the fish that come into the net. That's not my job to worry about. But like I said, some of y'all worried about you're going to sink, you're going to get ridiculed. And so it sounds like y'all can't handle the task at hand. You all can't handle the task at hand. But look what Peter said in verse 8, Luke 5, verse 8. And when Peter saw it, so when Peter saw the abundance of fish, he fell down at the knees of Jesus, saying, depart from me. He was telling Jesus, depart from me, Jesus, for I am a sinful man, O Lord. And I ain't going to go that far, say y'all are sinning, or that y'all are sinful. But I will say, once again, now that we know that a net is being cast, let's just go to work. Let's go to work. Let's do the job. Let's quit complaining about where the net was cast. Let's quit trying to clean the fish out before we catch fish. And look what was said. Look what he said afterwards in verse 9, Luke 5, verse 9. For he was astonished at all that were with him at the draught of fishes which they had taken. See, they was astonished at the amount of fish that they thought they couldn't catch in these particular waters, because at night, the same waters were dry. They couldn't catch anything. But they was amazed because our job is just to do what he says and help out to help reel them in and not complain about where the net was cast. Not trying to clean the fish out the net before you get fish in the net. That's our job. All right. So we're going to finish out with Luke 5, verse 10. And so was also James, John, the sons of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. And Jesus said unto Simon, fear not, fear not. From henceforth, thou shalt catch men. So this whole Luke 5, 1 through 10, the whole thing of casting the net was all about catching the men. But we worried about the men that's being caught or where they casting the net and not concerned with that. Actually, Jesus is the one that's going to draw them in. It's not us. So I shouldn't be worried about the He Gets Us campaign. This lets me know I need to go to work. That I need to reel in whatever fish that are in that net. I need to reel them in. You need to reel them in. We need to reel them in. And then let Jesus do the work. So hopefully y'all get this message, and hopefully y'all take this as a gracious reply to the He Gets Us campaign.
You want the ministry, but you don't want the mess. You want the strength, but not the struggle or the stress. You want the fruit, but you don't want to plant the seeds. Refusing to be led, but you the first to want to lead. You want the victory, but you don't want to fight for it. Sacrifice for it, Jesus gave his life for it. You running red lights and stopping at the green one. It's time to get your head right and focus on the kingdom.